All right. Good morning, everyone. Guess where we are? Well, that'd be pretty hard. It's kind of unfair. We're in Florida. So if you guessed Florida, you guessed correctly. But more specifically, we at Starkey Wilderness Park. That's right. You may remember it from one of our very old videos. If you haven't seen that, go back to the catalog, run it, and take a look. It's a pretty exciting place. They have a horse ring. You can bring your horse here. They have overnight camping. They have cabins. Oh, it's just a wonderful place. A lot of wildlife. Deer, bear, Florida panther, alligator, reptiles of all kinds. If you're not a snake lover, oh my God, you'll want to stay away from this place. But, that being said, today we are going for the bike trail. We are going to see about doing some wilderness photography. Oh, that's correct. Welcome, people, to another photo quest. You know, these things really kill me, man. You gotta get up super early in the morning. And I got a backpack of gear strapped on. It's been a while. See, but that's why it's good for you. You know, this shouldn't hurt like it does. It only does because I'm out of shape. And that means I've been away from it too long. But today we're going to learn about patience, of course, always lighting, framing, but a few other tips, a couple of things you may not think about that you probably should be. Ooh, that's way overexposed. Let's turn this way. But I got a big old hike ahead of me. I'm going to get way back in the woods. I'm hoping to get a deer. Bear would be almost impossible. There are some, but not too many, unfortunately. And they're not the kind that would eat you. So, you know, if we do run across one, I think I'm relatively safe. But until that time, my friends, enjoy a bit of the trail. So, wildlife photography. Much harder than you would think. First thing you have to do is find yourself an awesome location. This is an awesome location that happens to have a lot of people always. So, even though it's an awesome location, to get what you're after is going to be a bit difficult, right? Since most creatures of nature are afraid of humans, and all this human noise and activity would tend to drive them away. Yeah, you're correct. That's exactly what happens. So I didn't make it easy on myself purposely today, simply because I'm not after any specific creature in mind. I would just love to get a nice deer picture to share with you guys. But there's always an overabundance of things like possums and turtles and rabbits and squirrels that make good enough, subject matter for practice like we're doing today. But again, if you're actually on a mission for a certain type of animal, then you're going to have to go way, way deep in the woods, far from mankind. And let me tell you something. You need to do a couple of these trips to warm up because, man, I tried to do one right out of the box one time. It didn't go well. Didn't make it. Didn't get what I was after and was exhausted for days, days to come after that. So right now, I'm going to have to really trek on back into a deep spot to get as far away from humanity as possible. But as soon as we get there, we'll discuss a little bit, or maybe before we get there, I don't know. It seems like I'll probably have to stop along the way and get some rest. I am a bit out of shape again. And that would be the other reason I'm doing this. Gotta get my fat ass into shape. Winter's coming, man. That ain't good. You always put on a couple of winter pounds, right? So I think this is the time of year I pick up higher activity on purpose. But it's warming up. I think I need to change what I'm wearing, and we'll see what happens when we get further into the woods. Away into the woods we go. So one of the things that I enjoy most about nature photography is it puts all of your senses to work, right? You have to listen, be looking constantly, always aware of your environment if you want to find the subject you're after. So you have to tune your ears into the sounds of nature and tune your brain waves into that, which I think is pretty cool. I'll be honest with you, it's like a rush. And it's one of the reasons I think I enjoy nature photography, even though I hate it. Yeah, I'm on the hunt for my prey. There's a certain atmosphere you find deer in, so you listen for the birds, and then you listen for a hole in the birds, and usually you find something there. So I'm about 3 miles up into the forest. I'll go about another 1.5 miles before I stop, and then we'll talk about hunkering down. So like I was saying earlier, you want to use all of your senses when you're out looking for these animals, right? So, like this behind me, there's a giant rutted up area over here. It's obvious a whole bunch of deer have been scavenging around for food in this area. They tend to tear it up like that when there's a whole bunch of them. They travel in some big size packs here, so I think I'm on the right path. I think if we go in a little deeper, maybe another 1/2 mile or 1 mile, we may actually just get lucky and find some, but gotta be real quiet. They have incredible hearing, right? So we'll pick it up in a minute.
That's only 1 mile? Yeah.
All right, you found your spot. You cleared a place to put your equipment. Now it's time to go over a little technical part of the day. So depending on what type of camera you're using, if you're using a DSLR or an SLR, even a lot of today's point and shoot cameras all have a lot of good extra features that you can always access. So one of the things that I try to always check as soon as I get started is a little ditty called, it's called your white balance, right? So what you want to do is always go to your white balance settings if you have them and see if they're appropriate for the conditions you're in. So I'll show you on my camera, and most of them all have the same features. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but it's going to tell you direct sunlight. It's going to say flash, cloudy, shade, incandescent. So if you're inside like a house with old light bulbs, fluorescent if you're in a house with like your office with overhead lighting. So you pick the one that's most appropriate for what the conditions are at the time. And that's the whole mystery to white balance, right? And what it'll do is it'll add depth to your picture. It'll eliminate a lot of the lighting that isn't necessary and leave a more focused, soothing lighting, or the opposite. Or actually you could throw a lot of light into your picture with the white balance, all right? So always remember, you want to check that if you have a camera that needs to have a white balance setting. Now even on this camera it has an auto mode, and when you put it in that auto mode it sets everything. But I like to use the features the camera have, and a lot of the point and shoots also have the white balance mode that you can control. So I mean, if you would like it to be more soothing, have a more mellow vibe to the picture, you would maybe change the white balance to fit the condition you're in to get that, which isn't necessarily the setting on the camera. Yeah, I know it's a lot to take in at one time, but basically if you're in direct sunlight and you put it on direct sunlight mode, it's going to cut out a lot of this background sunlight, right? So if you are inside somewhere and they have you know, a medium amount of mood lighting, and you want to make it even more rich looking, you could put it on direct sunlight. And then within those features, sometimes, especially on DSLRs, you're going to have plus or minuses you can add to it. So you would put it on direct sunlight, which means it's going to block out most of the light, but you could put it at like a +3, so it leaves a little in there. So you see, you're using direct sunlight when you're not in direct sunlight to get a certain effect on your picture. Make sense? The more you practice, it will. But you'll hear that a lot. White balance, white balance, white balance. Yeah, when your white balance is off, your pictures are ruined. When I first started using this particular camera, I was aware but didn't think about it constantly. And I mean, throughout the day, white balance is something that you're going to work on and, you know, change. Because if you start early in the morning at sunrise, you're going to have, you know, you have it set to, you know, in the shade or cloudy. And then, you know, as the day goes on, you're going to move into, you know, direct sunlight or, you know, possibly an incandescent lighting setting with a -3 or 4. So it cuts a lot of light, but a certain amount and a certain type. So every time you play with it, start playing with it, man. I mean, it's what helped me enrich my pictures. I guess that's the best way to put it. It's the setting that'll help enrich your pictures the most or ruin them the most, depending. But with that being said, so you see I cleared out my spot and I set up my cameras, and then comes the waiting. And the waiting. And oh yeah, way more waiting. Today, kind of a bust. Got my exercise, got my practice with my gear. Not an animal to be found in 3 hours. Not a squirrel, not a rabbit, not a turtle, not an armadillo, not a possum, not a snake, nothing. They tell me 300 different varieties of birds. Couldn't even find one of those. That's how wildlife photography is. So there's a few things you can count on. Do a lot of sitting around. Probably not get what you came after. Going to get wet. Going to get bit. But you're still going to have a good time. And it's going to teach you patience. You're going to tune your hearing in that you haven't probably done forever, since you probably live in the city like I do. You're going to get to commune with nature again. I think that's why a lot of people do wildlife photography, because they just actually love communing with nature. And I get it. But a tip that I forgot today too, when you do your wildlife photography, since I switch bags in and out a lot, I have a bag for my back, you've seen the sling bag I carry. I left my deep woods off in my sling bag, because that's what I usually use when I'm out in the woods. So note to self, 2 deep woods off, 1 in each bag, because it's been brutal around here. Florida's a swamp, so I've been battling mosquitoes while I'm trying to get pictures. Anyway, I hope it's been helpful. I think maybe I've shared some useful tips with you. If not, let me know in those comments down below. You know, that's what this is all about. I'm here for you. I'd like to know what you'd like to know. I share my hobbies with you, but if you find it absolutely boring or I've said something stupid and wrong, definitely let us know, right? Gonna hang around for about another half hour, maybe an hour. See if I can absolutely maybe find a animal to get a picture of. Even a squirrel would be nice at this point. But if not, I had a great time. Say hello to our new sponsor, Foot Kicks. If you need any replica sneakers, that's the website to go to. You'll find their links in the description down below. With a discount code, Andrew, that'll get you some savings on a pair of sneakers you really want. Also, never forget our first sponsor, Amazon. Everything you need in your life from A to Z delivered to your door. Show them some love. Follow any of those links below. You don't have to buy that gear. Just use it to get there. And anything you do contributes to us. Helps build the channel. And soon we'll be getting from on the road content. I got a segment I'm working on. I haven't quite worked it out yet, but we're going to be going back, like I said, to our winter tours, because I like to do my driving then. And I have a lot more to share with you. But y'all know how we do it. comment, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell so every time one of these pop up, you get notified. Love ya. See y'all in the next one. Yep, not even a bird. That's sad, man. I'm weak. I gotta get back to practicing.